All right, y'all. Welcome to the Medium Ghetto podcast with host Shamar. We're gonna play that music real quick.
Theme song.
It's medium, ghetto, intelligent, her conversation, so won't you come hang with the gang? Relatable topics from coming up broke to the nonsense that all come along with these dames. From trust to trapping, we cover it all in with laughter, so won't you come grab you a seat? From O's to Othello, you know that we medium, ghetto, and nothing can even compete.
All right, welcome back. All right, today's topic is going to be protecting your peace. We're gonna be going over 5 scenarios, and we're gonna be asking our guest panel how they're gonna protect their peace. I'm gonna start with introductions though.
Yeah.
All right, who's going first?
I'll go ahead and grab that right quick just to get it out the way. The one, the only Troy D. Bryant, host of Love Journal and Man of Horror, and author of Where the Fuck Is My Book? Cicada Diaries. Get your copy now.
All right. Then I guess I'll go. My name's Jameer. I'm the host and creator of As the Culture Turns. Pretty much it, yeah. Host, creator As the Culture Turns, and just an activist out here and just ready to get into this conversation.
Bet.
And this is Kendall, aka Afro Mortis. I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/AfroMortis. I do poetry, gaming, and activism content.
Bet. He ain't playing no games though.
Oh, I always be playing games.
Literally what he just said.
All right. Let's do this, right? First scenario. Context. The person is feeling overwhelmed and anxious due to constant exposure to negative news, comparison traps, and cyberbullying on social media platforms, aka the men versus women, John. You can't go on a date to Cheesecake Factory, even though the Cheesecake Factory is overly expensive, in my opinion. All right. So, question for the guest. In a world where social media can be a double-edged sword, how would you advise someone to navigate these platforms to protect their peace of mind, especially when it becomes a source of stress and negativity?
I'll let anybody volunteer to take that one first because I got some stuff for it.
Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I think that comes down to. Oh, well, I mean, yeah. If you got a. Okay, so I think it comes down to a lot of shit. I think it was on shit. It was a little delay. My bad. Go ahead.
No, you good. Go Troy.
All right. So like everything is kind of starting with self. You know what I'm saying? Outside of social media, like if you're a timid person outside of that, social media isn't for you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not going to change too much. So it's more so I think about being able to walk away from it and like kind of tap in. You know what I'm saying? And remind yourself that most of the shit you see is probably fucking fake. You know what I'm saying? Remind yourself not to compare yourself to people, and really just like take breaks from it. Because you know, unfortunately, like a lot of shit, like especially the past couple of years, a lot of news and shit that we've learned, we've gotten from like Twitter or Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it is still social media is an important platform, and it is something we should like learn how to operate. But you do breaks, you know, and we're absorbing 1,000 fucking people's opinions and thoughts a fucking day. Take a second, step away from it, and just remind yourself that I won't say that it's not real, but that, for lack of a better term, yeah, that it's not real. Just you know what I'm saying. Like I said, I can't really think of another way to say that part. At least not yet, because that blunt kicking in. So yeah. But I think it just start, like I said, it start with self, because like I get. Like cyberbullying, I've seen that before when I was in high school, and that shit was like when social media first started, and it was like on Facebook and shit, and like, I didn't understand it because I'm like, I'm not about to be bullied by somebody online, bitch. Come say it to my face. But I get for some people that is overwhelming. I just log the fuck off, like you know.
Any takers?
Oh, Jameer, go ahead.
There we go. All right. So Jamar, could you rephrase your question again? I mean, could you say it again?
Sure. In a world where social media is a double-edged sword, How would you advise someone to navigate these platforms to protect their peace of mind, especially when everything seems to be a source of negativity and stress? I know you see it on,
Okay,
especially on the
so
Chester Facebook. On Chester Facebook, it's pretty damn toxic.
no, definitely on Chester Facebook. So my thing, I would say first you have to develop a healthy coping mechanism. So with that, you have to find healthy ways to cope with what you see because social media can be a double-edged sword. It can be a good promotional tool for whatever you're doing, especially if you're using it for the right thing. But then it could also be a toxic type of environment where you feel like you're not good enough or you're not, as successful as other people. So first, you really got to have ways to cope with that because you're not going to escape it at all. Second, I would definitely say use it at a you use it to your advantage. That, and when I say that, do not try to compete with other people. Do not try to compare yourself to other people because I think our minds naturally do that. And for me, I do. I'm not gonna say I do that, but I had a habit of doing that before, So once I developed healthy coping mechanisms, I was able to navigate it and figure out the benefits of using social media as opposed to focusing on the negative of social media. That's what I would pretty much say.
Okay. So what kind of
Do with your shit
comparisons
when you
have you?
log off.
What kind of comparison traps have y'all seen so far? Before I get to Condell.
Oof. Age. That's the one. That's the biggest one I hate. Oh, you 30 plus and no kids and you ain't married? Yeah, bitch, I'm living my life according to myself. yeah. Oops, sorry, I'm living my life. I don't. My bad. Like that one is the one I hate the most. As if like in your 20s, you just figure it all the fuck out, and life is known, and everything you want and believe, it just all happens. And then once you turn 30, life ends, and you're just an old bitch. Like I look fucking good. I'm about to be 32, nigga. You're not about to tell me I peaked already. Like. I'm just now learning myself and really understanding myself. So that age comparison shit pisses me off.
Yeah, a little bit to piggyback off of that, like it can be like you see your peers, they a lot of people are like buying houses, they starting families, and sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like why don't I have the money to buy a house yet, or a family? But a lot of things can be, at least for me, I might compare like if I'm in the same industry as other people, like with podcasting. Sometimes I can find myself probably comparing numbers, or wondering why I don't get as many shares or as many likes and different things like that. But then, like you said, Jamar, especially when it comes to Chester Facebook, a lot of it is a popularity contest, So unless you're on there, trying to be popular, putting those trap type of statuses up there to get the likes and everything, then I think you will garner that type of attention. So for me, it's more so about comparing where I'm at with my aspirations right now. So the personal stuff I learned to navigate, and I try not to compare personally, but professionally, that is a challenge for me. So more so of comparing my aspirations to other people's.
Bet. And Kendall, I'm gonna ask you that question again, and also add on.
You don't got to repeat it.
Ready?
I got it. I got it.
No, yeah, you're good. So with social media, right? There's, like you guys said, there's a shitload of comparing going on. But the rule for like managing your social media and all of your life is the exact same as outside of your social media. You are running your own race. You are on your own treadmill. You do not have to be that person. You don't have to be as good as this person. You don't have to have like all of these assets that somebody else might have because you may just not be there yet. That's not the position that you're in your life. If you want it, don't waste your time staring at everybody else that has it. Go get it. Get up and do the work to get to that position and chase after what you want. But if you look at like the fastest track runners in the world, they don't run like this, looking behind them. Their eyes are forward, looking at their track, going where they need to go to do what they need to do. Now, that's not to say you just ignore all the hate because it's going to come. But that's also to be expected. Anybody who puts themselves out there in any capacity, whether you are a poet, whether you're a musician, a podcaster, anything like that, there are always going to be people who disagree with you. That's okay. Like, if people didn't disagree with you, you probably weren't saying anything like worth like discussing to begin with. There's always going to be people who have something to say about what you want to do, who you want to be, what you want to accomplish. Focus on doing that, accomplishing it, and surrounding yourself with people, not yes men, but people who will consistently challenge you and push you to do better, when you feel like you might be slipping otherwise. That's that's really like my my case in a box for that.
Mic
Like I
drop.
had a conversation. I'm sorry, real quick. That remind me. I had a conversation recently. And ultimately, like the idea that I kind of came up with or whatever, it's just like, or not idea, but the consensus of the conversation basically ended up like people being so obsessed or worried about what's in other people's cups and not even paying attention to what's in their own. So it's like you like, oh, he can do that, she can do that, they got this, they got that. It's like you haven't even stopped to realize what you have, because everybody is
Yep.
also better at, so like there's something that you can do that nobody fucking can do the way that you do it. And when you spend so much time looking at everybody else shit, you never discover what your shit is. Like there's something that you have a cup too, and it's like people get so. I think with social media, we get so obsessed with those other cups and shit. It's like we want that so many people haven't even dived into their own shit. They don't even realize they have a cup. Like,
Yeah, I have even like a little anecdote to add to that. I work in schools with special needs kids doing like one-on-one support. This one kid that I worked with, uh, he was easily like one of the fastest kids in his class, right? If he just ran, like it's like, okay, wow. But when it came time to race, this kid was doing exactly what I said like track runners don't do. He would be in first place and you would watch him coming up to the end and he would break his neck to see if anybody was behind him. He fell once because of doing that. He tripped over the cone that they were using as their marker. You can't do that. You can't stress over what other people are doing. If somebody beats you, how? How did they do it? What did they do or prepare to put them in a position to outdo you? And learn from them. Don't get bitter about it. Don't get upset about it.
yeah,
Chase
probably ain't
after
going
it
hard.
and like emulate that. Even if you went as hard as you possibly could, they might have a couple tricks or two, like with their breathing, with their stride, with the steps they take, that put them a little bit ahead of you. Emulate that instead of getting upset about it or thinking you're not as good as them or not good enough.
Yeah.
I like it. I think for me, my answer is like for social media, when it gets too exhausting, what I usually do is I'll honestly log off, or like I just choose to make my social media more positive. You know what I mean? Because obviously I look on my social media and I know social media is capped because I go to these content creator conferences. I see them capping. I'm in the background where they're filming the cap. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is capped. You see these a lot of times. I see girls compare themselves in beauty on there, and to be honest, these girls are just taking great photos with great angles. You know what I'm saying? I think just like good guys, who gets what girls, who's married, who has kids, like you said. A lot of times we rush to have kids. It's kind of sucks to be like, what am I like 30? I think I'm 32.
It'd be
I
like
think I'm
that.
32. If
It'd
if
be
I'm not
like that.
mistaken,
I think I'm
I could be
32.
32.
Yeah, I ain't got no kids, or I'm no longer married. You know, I could be looked as like a fail. I don't have my own home that can be looked as a fail. You know, it's so easy to compare. I can see
Which
these
is
people getting
gross.
these nice vehicles. I'm like, dang, I ain't got a nice vehicle like that. I can see people eating out all the time. I'm like, damn, I can't even afford that. I can see people just taking shots and having fun. I was like, damn, I wish I had good friends like that that could do that. You know, I'd see people taking trips. I was like, I can't even afford a trip. But at the end of the day, you don't know their story and what they gave up for that.
Mhm.
Like, you know, you're spending thousands of dollars on podcast equipment and things to build yourself.
No,
They
most
spent
definitely.
thousands of dollars on a trip. So there is sacrifices I think people aren't
They probably did
aware of.
scam and low key if they show their real ID, their ass is going to jail. So now they got a fake ID and they on the trip on Instagram. What's up? But you
I
don't
don't
even know.
even I
So
don't
no,
even like to
I
come
mean
at
not
it from that
exactly that, but
angle.
just like but I just mean like as far as like the
I
behind the
won't lie,
scenes. You know what
like
I'm saying? Like
everybody
there's
think I
more
got a
behind the picture.
girlfriend. All my friends think I'm dating somebody because I always got a picture with a girl on my story, so they don't know who I'm dating. I'm not dating nobody. I'm single as fuck. But like all the
Yeah.
cap
Okay.
makes me seem more attractive, or for some reason it makes people wonder what don't I see in him. Someone just
Well,
told me about it the other day.
it's not even really cap. Like it's just social proof. If you see a guy, he goes out to like say it's a gaming or like an anime convention or something. He's
Yeah,
by himself, walking around, whatever cosplay he's wearing. It's like, okay, that guy's kind of cool. He has like his thing going. But that's different than seeing somebody who walks in. They have three girls in their group. They've got like three or four guys with them. They're all together. They're laughing. They're making jokes. They're having a good time. that tells you something about the person immediately, just because we have that implicit bias of if you already have friends, I want to be your friend too, versus why do you have no friends? Why are you by yourself? It's the same thing with going to the movies or going out to eat dinner by yourself at a restaurant. Like, have y'all done that? Have you gone out by yourself to a shop
Hell yeah.
and sat and
Yeah,
ate
all
some
the
food by
time.
yourself? Yeah. Then there's initially the like, oh, this feels weird.
I won't
Because
lie.
like,
Going to pets,
I
going
be
to
smooth.
pets too by yourself, and you're a grown ass man, and everybody got their kids, and you just there by yourself. You feel a little weird.
yeah, but
Oh,
sometimes seeing other people's
But-
badass little kids can be the only birth control you need.
I was mad. It
Yeah.
would not shut up.
Oh, I'm an uncle and a god daddy. Let me tell you,
Yep.
that's more than enough. I mean, like, you can go back to your mama.
I ain't ready yet.
They go
Nope.
your daddy. They go your daddy. I mean, granted, it won't necessarily happen for me on accident at least. So I have a full like choice in the matter. But nevertheless, right now and probably for the next 10 to 15 years, the choice is no. And I don't give a fuck how old I am, how old I get. Ain't nobody about to make me feel like, oh, you should be married and should have a kid.
Look,
Or
my
you
mom
should
may
shut
have
the
me
fuck
until
up and worry about
43.
your
I'm
own life.
cooling.
God damn.
Like that's the other part because motherfuckers are so worried about other people. Just worry about yourself. Which are you happy with your 25 with your 6 kids and your marriage at 25?
Yo, no,
If
no
so, then
cap,
shut the fuck
bro.
up.
No cap. I just was on Hinge today, and one of the profiles I read was like, she said, "Yes, I got. If you don't like kids, you shouldn't swipe on me." And then it said, "No, I don't. No, I don't think I should go back to my baby daddy. Yes, I have 6 kids. I'm looking for a man who likes kids. I don't think you should be dating, man. You got 6 kids."
No, see, that's not even. I don't even think that's fair because there's somebody who.
I think
I almost like bite the
somebody will
bullet,
deal with it.
but it's
I
not
don't
even
think
dealing with it. It's somebody who say a guy can't have his
I
own
would
kids,
want to be there.
and he would be
Yes,
okay. Yeah,
absolutely want
they
to.
would be okay with being a stepdad. I think at this point in my
I think
life,
there's
if
a
I met a
dating-
girl who already had a kid, I'd probably be cool with it at this point.
With 6,
Like
though,
having a
I think
long-term
there should be
relationship.
like a joint family dating site where if you got like two.
We
of
got
like
2 people
3
raising 15 kids together.
Okay, that is literally a movie plot, like waiting to happen. Let's say some Disney.
Nah,
shit.
but the whole plot of the movie is that they're both hiding how many kids they have from each other. And then they
Yeah.
show up at like some family event. It's like, oh, are all those your nieces and nephews? No.
I have 6. I got 5. Oh,
I'm
shit.
Catholic.
Right.
Oh my god!
No.
All right, let's digress
I think
here.
like the topic y'all on with the whole dating thing. Oh my bad. Keep going.
Nah. You can go.
I think I'm delaying, so sorry. All right, now I'm about to say because y'all were just on the topic of that. Because I do slightly disagree with that because there was just a debate about people saying that people who make under 50K should not be dating, and a lot of the average person make under 50K, so they're basically telling us who make under or at 50K that we should not be dating. So I think when it comes to dating and everything like that, you shouldn't be judged or defined by past choices you made, whether that was how many kids you got, how many relationships you was in, or even your current financial status. Because we all know as men that we are defined by how much money we make. So I would never want to define a woman by how many kids she got, because I know I personally don't like being defined by how much money I make. Now, will I date a woman with 6 kids? It may not be the best option for me, but there might be somebody out there for her that can take care of her and her 6 kids.
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah. Somebody's gonna do it. Somebody's always gonna be there. But it's
If
just
I made like at least a couple million a year, I might take on the trial.
shit.
Bro, that's the first pickup line. You trying to make it 8?
Trying to make you trying to make it 12.
That's all you gotta say.
Oh no, what the fuck?
Trying to double up.
Hell no.
Not double up. I don't even want 6 kids myself.
If
I
I
got
ever
mad
have
fucking
any.
statistics.
it was
Shit, actually,
one.
while we're in that position, like Jameer's completely right. Me, myself, right now, like after I totaled my car back in June, up until the point I'm at now, I haven't like wanted to do any dating at all because I borderline defined myself by having a car. But then I also realized how much comfort I had when I was able to just, okay, it's a 25 to 30-minute drive to work. I'm there and back super quick. That makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm in a much better position. But like I was talking with you about, Jamar, last night, needing to do, like now I'm doing a 90-minute commute, it's going to be a lot harder for me to realistically or consistently date somebody when I do have to deal with that at least 3 or 4 days a week, plus my actual full-time day job. So I don't think it's fair to ever say anybody should step out of dating. Because after a certain point, you get to the point where you're talking about like people with special needs who should never date. If you have Down syndrome or autism or anger issues or whatever, you shouldn't be dating at all because what if you pass those to your kids? And that's like it's a really messed up way of looking at the world and trying to put people in
Yeah,
boxes where they're not allowed to do things because of who they are.
yeah, and it takes away the reality of human error because we all have moments like we're not always on top, financially. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you might really need some fucking help. You're going through a bad phase. That happens. You know what I'm saying? You might, you know, mental health that changes. You might lose a parent or something, and now you're trying to learn how to deal with that, and that can take a nice amount of time. You know what I'm saying? That could change your mental health and your mind state. So it's like life can always happen to you, and I think when people make these dumbass rules, they're ruling out the fact that life could happen to them.
I think like
Your
too,
ass can
like
wake up
social
tomorrow and
media
lose
becomes
everything.
social media poisons the mind unconsciously to think to make you forget about human error too. And that's what a
Mhm.
comparison goes to. You're comparing your human error to everyone's perfection. And I think because you
Oh,
forget about human error after a
Exactly.
while, because everyone just seems so perfect. But let's get
yeah.
on to the work-life balance scenario, right? Let's see, you are working in a highly competitive corporate environment with long hours and high stress, sounds like my job, leading to burnout and a significant imbalance between personal life and work. Given the pressures of modern work cultures, what strategies would you suggest for someone struggling to find a healthy work life balance? And how can they assert boundaries without jeopardizing their career? Let me give you a little bit more details. We got someone at our job, a really nice lady, but she's so stressed out. She has a salary position. She's so stressed out. She's like manages like a whole department, and when she will literally not get some of her work, and she'll come back. She'll pretty much work 18 to 20-hour days some days. I've seen this lady work
Damn.
22 hours before, and then come back, take a nap, and then come back like 2 hours later, and then work again.
Oh,
And she literally cut her mother's death short to come back to work because she was scared that her department was falling apart.
see, that's some
Yeah, she got a
personal
terrible life balance. Like,
yeah.
yeah, no, her own work life balance is very terrible because she tends to put work before her life, and I feel like work is not. I don't want to say work is not reality, but it's not your real life.
Fuck
I
these
would say
jobs.
it's a part of your life. Um, yeah, exactly. So, given the scenario you gave Jamar and kind of give my opinion on that, I'm real big on work life balance because I feel like in order to have a happy life, you gotta be able to live your life. If you're only worried about working all the time, that's easier said than done because a lot of our lives right now and our livelihood, we do got to make money. I'm someone right now who has two jobs because I need more money. However, I make sure that that second job I got, I specifically told them that I can be as needed because I do need a nice work life balance for the things that I want to do outside of working. At my first job, my main job, I had to come in there as a new person, and I was put in a supervisor position. So imagine trying to come into a job where people already been there. And mind you, I work with deaf people. So my main coworker, he's a deaf person himself. So I'm what they call us is we are hearing people. So I'm a hearing person coming to their culture, and I have to basically delegate, the type of tasks we're going to do with the deaf participants for that day. Now, for me, again, I don't have that much experience as within the deaf community. So I had to really learn a lot of what was going on there. Once and that took a lot of my life because honestly, that's like learning a whole nother language. So I had to really like dedicate myself to learning their language because that's their culture. I didn't want to go in there and writing on a whiteboard every day because then it's like I'm not even trying to learn their culture. So at the beginning, and I only been there for like 5 months. At the beginning, I literally had to like just dive deep into that. When I would leave work, I would go home, watch YouTube videos, and watch interpreters so that I can learn their language. Now I'm at a good point where okay, now I know the basics of their language, and I'm able to have more time for my life and everything because the main thing I had to do was make sure that number one, I didn't get demoted. Number two, that again, I was respecting their culture and coming in and actually trying to learn, because the first thing on the application it says must be willing to learn American Sign Language. So if I went in there with the attitude of like, well, I don't want to learn this. This is not my language. I would have been demoted or easily fired, you know? So for me, a good work-life balance is very necessary, because again, if you come to work and you know you're mad in your personal life, I feel like that creates a toxic work environment. And then if you come home and you just constantly complaining about work, then you're just being toxic around the people in your real life. So you really got to have a good balance and know how to cut each one off and don't let them intersect with each other. That's what I
Mhm.
personally think.
Keep keep home at home and work at work. But what I was gonna say really quick too with
Exactly.
the woman, like with somebody like that too, it's not to talk shit because I don't know her, but unfortunately, sometimes people like that, if it's not your career, like if it's your career, working hours like that almost feels like nothing because you love what you do. If it's your job, go fuck these jobs. Like, what are you working so hard for? Because if you die killing yourself working here, they're just gonna replace you. It's not gonna be like, oh, she was the best worker. We just can't we can't find another. They look at the applications already. So it's like
Yeah, I even
giving. I mean,
disagree
like,
with that though, because like
Right.
the job I'm doing now, like working with the special needs kids, and Jameer, I would honestly even disagree with like what you had initially said. Think about the fact that like you go into your job, you come out of it, go home, you start learning sign language. Now on your way to work or you're on your way anywhere, you run into a deaf person who's having trouble at the store. You can help better than 94% of the people in the store because of something you learned from work. Me, if I run into a kid that's having like an emotional disruption in the hallway when I'm just walking out of the school, getting ready to clock out, because of my training and the stuff that I've done with the kids that I work with, if a neurotypical kid is just having a really bad day and they need someone to talk to, I know how to like kind of weed that out of them in a way where they feel safe and comfortable to discuss it because of the work that I've been doing. And it is a job. It's something that I don't work like a full 40 hours because I only work during school hours. So it's like 32 a week. But all of what I've learned from the job translates into how I'm going to be able to communicate with my own kids eventually. So there is like a level of like balancing how many hours you spend on the clock versus how many you spend at home. But for me, it's a matter of how many hours outside of your job in your real world are you learning something that you can take into the job, and the exact same is true for the reverse. How much are you picking up from your job that you can bring into reality? When I was working as a deli clerk, I knew almost nothing about like slicing meat, holding times for food, or anything like that. And then even Taco Bell, I learned how to fold tacos and stuff. Now, like Taco Tuesday is one of my favorite things to do, and I have the supplies for it. Making sandwiches is like hoagies and stuff. It's one of my favorite things to do because I spent hours of my day doing it at a job. So I integrated that into my
so I
real
don't mean,
life and carried it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, no. So that's definitely like work skills are like you should take every experience to try to learn something. So that's work,
Mhm.
that's life, whatever it is. So that's that's a thing that'll happen. That's using the job to your advantage. Like I still fucking make pizza better than most people. We make at home pizza because I work at Little Caesars. I have like real estate knowledge and fucking um banking knowledge, and like I have a bunch of from different jobs, and I've had different things that I was able to pull into my own life and the career and things that I'm working on. So like being able to speak doing this, like some of the jobs that I've had to do shit like this to where like now I took that skill over. So it's yes, use the job for your advantage. Um, but I still agree with not giving them too much because like with like to have back on the lady, like I feel like when people do stuff like that, they also don't have a life at home anyway. Like unless you do and you have like 8 kids or something, or even just one,
Hmm.
I
you just
just
have a
think
lot of
it's
shit to take care of. But
I
if
think
you're
it's a boundary
constantly
issue though
at
too,
work,
Troy.
yeah, yeah.
I think
But
it's
it's like
obviously it's a like
okay.
a work life boundary issue, not just like
It,
imbalance. It's
it's
to the
definitely a
point where
boundary. It's
it's she's not letting she's not able to have the life she probably wants at home because she does not know how to say no to her job. And now it's probably been so long that she's been doing it. Now they expect it, and now she just don't want to let them down. Probably too.
Girl, fuck these jobs.
I mean, there's also
yeah,
situations
that's
I
someone that
get.
I think that just doesn't have a good life balance. they don't have like a good balance. And just to push back on a little bit on what Cadell said, I don't, because my job description isn't specifically learning sign language. So the skill that I learn, do see a deaf person in my daily life, I would definitely use my sign language skills to communicate with them. My actual description is like, planning activities and doing different things like that. So that part of it is like I would leave it there, But
No,
if
yeah,
I
that's what I
happen to
mean.
see
Like
someone who's
you,
deaf in my actual life, then I would definitely use the skill that I learned in order to help them. But most people in my everyday life, they aren't deaf. So sometimes I have to learn how to cut it off because it does come home with me. I come home signing or doing things. I'm like, oh snap, I gotta learn how to cut this off. At least to certain people. But that's more so what it is. So I don't disagree with what you said, but it's more so of like, making sure that when I come home that I'm not worried about work. I'm not worried about what I got to plan or whose birthday is tomorrow. It's making sure that I focus on I spend the 4 hours working on my passions and my craft or different things like that.
yeah, I know it's not like that's not the main thing that you do, but like the choice to do that in your personal life led to you improving the quality of your work life. The quality of your work life then feeds back into you because now through the hours of interacting with deaf people in their own language, you are more improved at it. So when you take it's like a give and take. You give a couple of hours, you take away a new skill, then you give hours to your job, and then you take home the experience of practicing that skill in a real environment.
And a
But
check.
that too. But I was also gonna say, like, we have kids where school is their favorite place to be. Like, that doesn't sound like a common thing, but there are kids who hate going home. One of the kids that I had worked with before,
Hmm.
he didn't want to get on the bus at the end of the day. He wanted to stay at the school because who knows what hell
What the
he's
fuck
going
is
home
going
to,
to?
right? So a lot of people, their life is the same type of way. Some like women who are stuck in like abuse situations, they might find solace in the fact that they spend 16 hours a day working at their job. And while I hate that it's what they have to do to feel more comfortable, it is where they may be more comfortable, at least at that stage of their life. Some
Some people,
people
I mean,
like,
that's extreme too. Some people just don't
yeah,
like being alone. Like they might
even
not
with a
be with
funeral for
somebody
their
to go.
mom, it might not be like they might not have the closest relationship of a mother and daughter that you would expect. So she might pop up for the funeral or the viewing, say her respects, and then like I'm not gonna hold on to this. I'm just gonna get back to like what I do. This is like my life. So like I have no idea what her relationship was like, but that can all inform how you respond to like the work life balance stuff. If it's having negative impacts, you definitely got to work on it. But I think if you don't find any negative impacts, you can give yourself as much as you need to anything.
So like a good indicator would be like the if it's benefiting you out, burning you out, is that like a good indicator of a good work life balance? You think?
Yeah, if I work too much, I literally end up no call no showing. Any job that I've ever quit has been a no call no show because I push myself to go every single day, not miss a day, don't get sick, show up on time, and then my body is
Hmm.
like, ha ha, dickhead, and I don't get
Yeah.
to call out. I just sleep through my alarms. I wake up at 10:45. I see the phone rang because they tried to call to see where I was at. Don't bother to call them back. Next day, I feel bad
Yep.
about not showing up, so I don't show up again, and then it just
Like, well,
continues
I
from there.
guess I don't work here no more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
think I've done
Shit.
also
that
I
like five
remember
times.
Go ahead.
exactly, and I remember working with people who like used to brag about not using their sick days or PTO time, and I'm like, that's nothing to brag about because
That's
it's
weird shit.
allotted to
Yeah.
you to be
Yeah,
able
use
to
that
work on
shit.
your mental health and to when you're actually sick, like to actually take time off. So when people, because at one of my old jobs, if you didn't use your PTO time, like they did this thing, like if you didn't call out for 6 months, they would give you like money. So some people, or if you didn't call out for a year, they give you more money. So some people were literally like killing themselves to go to work just to get that little bit of money. Whereas you can get a paid day off. Like they didn't realize that you're going to be paid to be off and do what you want. And that is doing something that you love, whether it's some leisure time to go get your nails done, to go get a massage, to work on your passion or your craft. Like people literally was bragging about, I never call out. I never do this. Whereas me, I take perfect advantage of doing it. And I actually plan my call outs around things that I either want to do, like whether it's my birthday, I'm not going to work on my birthday. If it's like a trip or a vacation, like I'm going to use that time because that's me creating a perfect work life balance. And some people feel victim to like, oh, I don't want to call out because the staff need me. They will figure it out. I don't give a damn what's happening when I'm not there. Y'all will figure it out. And if y'all don't figure it out, y'all need to figure it out because I'm not gonna again
Because I
stress
own this
about what
motherfucker.
y'all need if I need
It's in
time
my
off.
company.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
the
I'm
place
just an
to learn.
employee. Like, it ain't like this is my business. If it's your business, it's a difference.
Yeah, the place may burn down. I just had the experience where, so a lot of people don't. I didn't tell nobody this, but last time I think I talked to you, I changed my job positions at my job. I used to be in HR, so now I'm doing lead fulfillment work for the warehouse. So now I'm out of corporate and I work for a warehouse. Now my boss is actually the general manager instead of the corporate figurehead dude. But so pretty much like my department was leaning on me to the point where I was felt so much pressure, so I wasn't calling out. And then to the point where I just got burned out and I just smile at work. I just was done. I was literally done. I couldn't care. I think the most emotion I could show was sarcasm. Um, all I have to say is like I left the department and I won't lie. Like 5 people just got fired within a month and a half because they just figured out that one person was doing the work. But guess what? Work-life balance taught me that I'm happy as shit in my
Yep.
new
Now you
position,
found
y'all.
your work-life balance.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, I chose
like
me.
even with time, right? I was say like even with time off, like I don't use it consistently, but only because I like to grab a big span of time. Fuck y'all. So like I'll go consistently and do my everyday on time, all that shit.
I won't lie. If you get at your
A couple
job,
months, but
I get mad at people like you, Troy. I'd be
but
like,
fuck that, because
damn.
I'm about to go. I'm gonna be out, and I'll make sure I pick my time around weekends and shit. Like, oh, I got 8 days, 8 days worth, 9 days worth. Let me grab all that, put this on the weekend. See you motherfuckers in 12 days. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I that's how I've always been. Like, and I got that from my mom because I used to see her doing that shit when we were younger. Like, she didn't really take time off, and I looked at it like, but like when she did, it was like a chunk, a chunk at a time. You know what I'm saying? Because she had it saved up. So with that part, I think that actually helps work-life balance a little bit. But I just really think ultimately you have to have something outside of fucking work that you like, or you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I mean about some people. Like when COVID hit and working from home was a thing, I fell in love with working from home. I don't want to
I
not
don't lie. I
work from
hated
home.
working
That's
from home.
shit.
I didn't know how to
Nigga,
balance.
what? Oh my god. I'm great. This should have been the only option forever. But like I learned a lot of people was like, oh, I just can't wait to get in the office. I just want to be. I was like, ew. I didn't understand. And then like Kendall, you mentioned, not everybody's situation is severe or as severe. Some people it is abuse. Some people honestly don't like their families. Some people don't like the roommates, the people that they live with. Some people don't live with anybody and they can't handle that aloneness. So it's like a lot of different reasons. I just think you have to have something outside of life to want to go to. If you don't, then work is like the only thing you look forward to.
That is true. Well,
Which is sad as fuck.
We gonna digress because that is sad as hell. I used to be that way. I used to love work just because I had no good family life.
Can I tackle one more point on that before we move forward? Because there is like it starts with school. Like, do you remember perfect attendance?
Yes. Yep.
Now, combine perfect attendance with if you are not perfect enough, not only are you going to have a bad reputation with your job for missing days often, but if you're an hourly worker, you are now missing bills too.
Yeah, you got that right.
So you got to juggle that at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You are absolutely right because I definitely wasn't perfect attendance. I literally
Definitely.
I didn't go to school 9th and 10th grade. I still passed somehow, and I joined y'all in 11th grade. But
shit, my ass is out here skipping like motherfucking 9th grade. What?
All right,
Perfect
next
attendance,
scenario
my
is
ass.
about
Sorry.
toxic relationships, right? All right, this scenario involves a person who was in a toxic relationship with a partner, friend, family member, or where they experience manipulation, constant criticism, or emotional neglect. When someone finds themselves in a toxic relationship that drains their energy and affects their self-esteem, what steps would you recommend they take to protect their mental health and peace of mind? I can speak about a scenario that I just recently went through. I remember I had this person in my life that I didn't really like that. We just cool, we just friends. But I could see they were getting more and more unattractive, and what they will do is if I'm around other people with them, they will put me down in front of all these other people, or they'll be constantly criticizing me, or they'll try to like pick at me with little stuff, but they're so nice to me in private, but with other people, they're just being some type of way. And if I didn't do what they wanted to do, let's say they'd be like, "Oh, why you hang out with that person? That person's not really caring for you," or they'll try like to isolate me so I can spend more time with them.
Cut them off. Simple answer. Next topic.
That
The fuck? I don't have time for that shit. I'm good. Bye. You enjoy.
What if they don't
Enjoy life.
understand what they're doing?
literally that.
Then they need to figure. They don't have shit to do with me. That they don't understand themselves. Go work on that shit and come back when you take 2 of these and call me in the morning. Like you go deal
Not
with your
take
shit.
2 of these, bro.
Because shit like that is like people have this weird thing of wanting to possess other people sometimes, and it's like that's somebody that wants to own you and wants you to. They don't look at you as a person; they see you as a thing. You need to react how I want you to react. You need to do what I want you to do. Do what I
So
need
Troy,
you to do because
you've never been possessive or overprotective of a friend. Like you've never like
oh
had
yeah, but I'm not gonna treat
like
them. I'm
a
not gonna put
sense
them
of like
down.
default by loyalty.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely. I have friends, and I'll be like, who? What
You're not gonna
you
put them
mean, best
down.
friend? I'm the only best friend you got. Like like, but jokingly because I'm not. I understand we're humans. We're gonna make friends other places, and jealousy is a normal emotion. It's just how your jealousy comes off. You need to handle that yourself. It's not for somebody else to deal with. And so it's like, yeah, I have that. I literally, if I see one of my friends be talking to somebody, so and I don't know them, I'm like, who the fuck is that? What y'all talking about? Y'all look real happy over here, motherfucker. But I'm joking, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not about to literally be like, no, don't talk to them, or like,
It's like that.
try to
That
put you
used
down
to
and
be
shit. Like,
me. I used to have that type
jokingly, I don't
of.
mean it like
No, I'm
in
sorry.
a
I'm lagging.
genuine,
So
like
sorry if
bothered
I'm
way.
talking over.
No, you good. I just meant like I don't mean it in a genuinely like who the fuck is this way. It's just like I've always been like that with some of my friends. Like, damn,
Why are you
all right, I,
making
mean, I guess you can have friends. Like, just playfully, but I'm never gonna treat them different. Is my point. Like, so when people do shit
I
like
do
that,
want to
that's
say I
possessive,
was in
and
like
you're
the
not seeing
same
me.
similar situation. Yeah, I was in the same similar situation as Jamar, where I had a friend who would, and I want to preface this right because I don't want to say like like it was obsessive, but this was my best friend. So sometimes when you have a best friend, you put them above your other friends. That's the reason why this person is your best friend.
Yeah.
So there were times where this best friend did have my best interest at heart and actually did give good advice and actually did advise me to stay away from people who wasn't good for me, but then they also use my loyalty by default to their advantage. So for me, it was situations whereas I would this person could ask me for any amount of money and it'd be cool like, oh, I got you, no need to ask or whatever. So it got to the point where I was basically being used to help do things with other people. I ain't gonna say their names because some of these people, Jamar. So what I'm gonna say is like in those situations, I had actually found out through the grapevine that like you, Jamar, this person was saying negative things about me, and even went beyond me, was saying negative things about like my family, or if we all had messed with a girl, whatever, and I started fucking with her, more so like on a one-on-one level, then they will go back to those people like, yeah, because he fucking with such and such now and everything. And I'm like, damn, but you, my best friend, like regardless of if you feel a way about it, why are you telling other people who are your friends about situations that I'm in and everything? Or it gets to the point where you're talking about shit that I vented to you about, and then when I confront you on the shit, it's more so like, oh, I'm crazy, or I'm bringing up old shit. So that's that gaslighting shit that people would like put you through because they make you feel like you don't have the right
Narcissism
to
and
address
shit.
them on their bullshit. So I know for me, that's how I used to be. I can't in the present mind state, I really am not territorial over friends no more because I really don't care to have a big group of friends anymore. If you're not bringing any benefit to my life, if you're not an asset to my life and you're more a liability, I really don't want you around, to be honest. So for me, I find comfort in being a little bit, I don't want to say alone, but being by myself. Like I've become my own best friend nowadays. And for me to accept you into my life and my personal space, I gotta really rock with you. I gave up on being friends with people because we was friends since we was kids. Like that default by loyalty shit, I had to let that go because it was doing more
Because not
damage to me
everybody
than
grows.
more
So some motherfuckers are still them kids.
great for me.
I
Exactly.
got
Yeah.
empathy on
And
this
then
too.
you find yourself making excuses for these people. You make
Yeah, you
excuses for them
do.
because this been my homie since I was a kid or whatever. And then what you said,
Don't
Jamar,
mean
about
shit.
relationships. I remember a long time ago, not to put your business out there, but I remember a long time ago, I remember you and your wife had came to my crib with me and my then girlfriend at the time. And I remember, we were talking about like the whole one of those scheming marketing companies that we were probably both a part of. And I remember her when I met with you and your wife, she was upset that I told her to go in the room because it was a meeting that me and you was having and your wife at the time. And I'm like, why are you upset about me telling you to go in the room? Because you had no interest in this and you don't even know these people. So why am
I
I
wasn't actually
inviting you
married,
in on
guys.
a
That's
meeting or a
why you
conversation that you set up with me?
ask the courthouse. I don't think that really happened, but all right. That's right.
Dog.
All right.
But
Yeah.
I see that a lot. Like in the workplace, you would think like schools would be void of this kind of behavior. But I've noticed like I try to get friendly with pretty much everybody that I meet out in the world. If I'm like working somewhere, I'll try to be like super cool with anybody. So if they have something going on outside the job, they have somebody at the job they can talk to about stuff. But like y'all said, like people will take shit and then just kind of run behind your back with it, like and talk all the shit in the world. So there was a point where I had just been going through it because I was late on my rent, late on my electric, late on my fucking internet. Had no food in the crib at the time, all that stuff all together. And then I went to work and it was like on my face. I wanted to call out that day, but if I call out, I have even less money to catch up. So I show up and I'm like doing my job, working with the kid I'm working with. But they're like pestering me, like, "Oh, come on, Ken, tell us this, like, what's going on, blah 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 blah." And then like 2 or 3 days later, of course, I say nothing. I'm like, I'm chill, I'm cool, I'm not trying to talk about this with y'all. I'm just not comfortable with that. And then 2 or 3 days later, like they start snapping about other stuff related to the job, and it showed me like immediately like this was just about each other that they were snapping. Now imagine if I came here to y'all and bled my heart out to y'all, and then you start talking shit about me to everybody else in the situation.
exactly.
And you have to carry that same energy anywhere, where it's like there are people who genuinely want to be in your corner to support you and be there for you. But there are also those people who are going to be like, this is why this person isn't suitable to be in the spot they're in
They're gonna
to other
weaponize it.
people. So they put you in a position where it's like you are now the step that they're using to climb up to the next level because they look good for reporting you or whatever, reporting that you're slacking on the job, you're not up to par, and that applies anywhere else. If I'm talking shit to Troy about Jamar, then it's gonna anybody who's a mutual friend of me and Troy is gonna be like, oh, these two are like they have a united front against him, and then they're gonna think less of you because we both have a problem with you. So you do have to be careful with that shit.
It comes out of discernment. When people have to learn how to be able to discern. I mean, unfortunately, there's only so much of a person's character you can discern before some bullshit happen. But very often we get signs of bullshit from people. We just don't pay attention to it. Or honestly, it paying attention to how people treat other people too. You know what I'm saying? Like you can see that. Like if they fucking went and talk shit and lied on this person, why wouldn't they do that to you? Like paying attention to people's characters and really being able to discern if they're the kind of person that you need, what to share with who. Like I'm
Because
at
I'm a
this
special
age,
snowflake and they love me. That's it.
but I mean, like, so like for me, like I'm not to gloat or anything, but like I have the kind of energy that people just love to talk to me. So I've always just been so like I have a I've always been able to make friends just kind of really easily. I can fucking have the angriest face on with
But do you
headphones,
love to take in all of those
blaring.
people's emotions and all of their trauma? Do you love
Oh
like
yeah,
they
I'm
love
an
to talk to
empath.
you, but do
And
you
it's
love
how I've
being
learned.
that person to run to all the time?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
It
in
can
the
be a
same boat.
struggle
I
at
love that
times.
stuff.
I
Yeah,
actually don't like it
because
all the
it
time.
helps me
I get
learn
really
people
drained, and I
more.
got a social
I don't
battery.
want to hear that all the
So
time.
when so
Oh
many
no,
Yeah,
people
me
throw
always.
too.
stuff
Yeah,
at
I
me,
take my yeah.
when
That's
people
why I
throw
take my
something at me
time.
though, Troy, if I
Yeah.
wasn't like, I don't know how y'all do it, but when people throw all that emotion and they talk to me all day, or I'm just so drained, I can't even focus on doing what I need to do. You know what I mean? Because like honestly, it's
Oh,
kind of like the Native American things. They didn't have any Native Americans that could apparently stutter until they learned the word stutter. They didn't have it in their vocabulary. So all this, like bad stuff, like venting over and over again. I understand once or twice, but like if you're not doing nothing about it, that's when it gets really, really, really toxic
yeah.
in my life, and I get tired from hearing it. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. So it's about
And
discerning
then
because I don't always
sometimes you're
listen to it.
enabling
I
the
don't let
person
every.
by continuing to just, like listen to it. And, like Jamar said, like, I will listen to you the first time, maybe even the second time, but I'm real big on solutions because I don't know how much of that I could take. Cause I used to have the tendency to to take on other people's problems like they were my problems. And now I realized that that wasn't healthy. Your problems don't have to be my problems. You know, I can empathize with you and I can understand where you're coming from. But my goal, or what I want to do as a friend now, is to be able to help you get out of that with a solution. And if I give you a solution and you still come back with the same problem, I need you to find a different friend in that friend group to talk to, because I'm no longer that person, because I've been that person so much and it really got me nowhere. So I could be that person, but only for a limited time.
Yeah, or we can be on a podcast and I can capitalize off your problems.
There's that.
No, I see that. Like for me, there's a stark difference. If somebody, if I'm like waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, I look at my DMs and I just see this, I'm gonna be like, "Fuck, bro, what is this shit?" But if I see a message that says, "Hey, I'm going through it right now. Can I talk to you?" I'm gonna answer that every single time, and I'm gonna listen every single time. I don't care if you're looking for solutions. I don't care if you're looking for somebody to vent to. The fact that you were to reach out to me and ask my permission and like my consent to really dive into your shit before you just dump it is completely different. I helped a couple friends resolve a situation between them not even like 3 weeks ago. And then I was excited about it because it opened a lot of doors for those two to be able to like perform together, work together, do whatever. But we'll call her friend number 2. This person continues to like message me about the situation over and over and over again. And I'm like, not only are you pushing buttons by trying to dig more out of that than you should be, you're also now just dumping the shit on me instead of saying like, hey, can we chat? If you hit me with a hey, can we chat? I'm open 150% of the time. I'll never decline that unless I'm doing something or busy, but I'm always willing to take on that energy if you show not only that you're willing to resolve it, because I'm not too worried about like the resolution. I understand people want to vent a lot, but if you are willing to make sure I'm okay with it first, that's the biggest thing for me.
You said a good part real quick, like to take it on. That's what I was kind of gonna say. Like, whether I listen to it or not, especially if it's somebody that is like, I'm with Cadell, I'm gonna pretty much always answer unless I'm doing something. But I don't always have to take it on. That's the difference. Because some people just need to speak. I don't have. If you said some bullshit and I already said my piece, I'm not gonna say nothing different. Go ahead and talk. I'm about to keep doing what the fuck I'm doing, but you need somebody to talk to and vent out. Go right ahead. Let me roll this blunt. Let me keep working on these graphics. Let me keep doing what the fuck, because I'm not gonna take that on. But you need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to get that out. Like, it's being able to discern when to take it on and when not to. Like, we, or at least myself, like I said,
Talk to a therapist.
I've been in that place before. Yeah, but like for me specifically, and I think a lot of empaths maybe have a little bit of this, but like I feel like I maybe in another life or one day when I'm like 50, 60 would be an amazing therapist. Because I listen with a lot of unbiased, but a lot of understanding and emotional understanding. So it's like, that's why I do this. That's why I let people come to talk to me, because it also helps me see where we're the same versus where we're different. So it helps me, that one conversation helps me understand multiple people at the same time. The more of those conversations I have, the more I have a better understanding of us. It's like, half of the time our shit ain't so fucking different. It's we just make shit different and we make it harder and we make it like nobody's ever been through this and there's no way somebody will understand. But it's like 9 out of 10, it's like 9 out of 10 we've all been through and felt the same fucking shit. You're not feeling some brand new human emotion that just birthed itself in you, or like none of that. So it's just, I don't know, knowing when to genuinely dive into the conversation and knowing when to be like, all right, this motherfucker just needs somebody to talk to. And then also knowing when to just not answer the fucking phone, because some people are on some bullshit. That's a real thing too. I've been
looking at my phone like this, like
if it's somebody that you ain't,
I think it stands out. I think it stands to be like a different kind of thing, though. Like, have y'all ever seen like the way you should handle kids celebrating like that they can jump? Is like, it's not to be like, oh yeah, cool, anybody can do that. Like, yeah, anybody can like jump, but for the kid, this is their first time ever being able to get both of their feet to leave the ground at once. It's their first time being able to run or climb a tree or ride a bike in their life. The very first time they ever experienced that. So I kind of look at everything through that same lens. If somebody is excited about something, they're beaten up about something, they're depressed about something. Sure, it is like a super common human problem and a common human emotion as well, but it could very well be the first time the person experienced that thing for themselves. So it has a much different translation when you look at it that way.
I see
I've
what you're
also
saying.
been the
Like,
friend that
so
Yeah,
talked
and
about
I
some
think it's
bullshit a
also
million
a thing out
times. So that's
there.
why it's like I understand. Oh shit.
Yeah, it's a thing out there that's called trauma bonding. What people do, a lot of people trauma bond, and I was real big or real heavy on trauma bonding. And where I'm at now, I want to heal bond with you. So my thing is, again, first couple times I don't want to listen to you, but if it's a repetitive situation, then I want to help you get to a place of healing from that trauma. Because when you trauma bond with some people, you sometimes justify what they're going through. You kind of make excuses for them, and sometimes they're not even telling you the full story. They're telling you their side of the story, which again, listening is very important. But I feel like if they're calling you, I feel like not just for you to listen, but they also want to hear you say something as well. Sometimes they want you to just gas them up,
I ain't got
and
shit
some
new to
people really
say.
do want
I
to
let a
hear ways
motherfucker know
to
real quick.
work on their. Yeah, exactly. But then some people really want to come up with a solution for their problem. So for me, again, trauma bonding is a real thing that people do, and unless we come in with healing, I really prefer to heal bond with you as opposed to trauma bond.
I see what you're saying. And you know what big lesson I learned too is don't let someone just dump information on you because you just want to listen.
Hmm.
You can't always listen because what
Right.
happens is if you just sit there and listen, they think you agree. And what pitfalls I had with friendships lately has been someone would talk to me, say all this stuff, and I ignore it, and then they'll just talk to someone else about what we talked about, which I don't remember the conversation in the first place, and they'll get mad and say Jamar agrees with this too. And I'm
Oh,
like,
don't
bro,
put
I
my
didn't
fucking
say
name in
shit.
your mouth like that.
I mean, you do
Now
have
we
to be
not friends
careful
no
about
more.
it. I mean, like I've literally had relationships with people who are like this, where it's like somebody will come to talk shit, hellish shit, and then instead of being like, do you think you're interpreting this the right way? Do you think they meant it when they said this? Do you think blah 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 blah? Checking them on everything is important. You can't if you're going to be lazy about it. I would advise you to tell them to go somewhere else,
Yep.
but like you do have to commit to it as well. That's why I like when people say like, "Hey, can I talk to you about this?" Because if you do that, I can prepare myself to be that person. I'm never going to be the person
Yeah.
to just be like, "Oh yeah, they shouldn't have done that," blah 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 blah, because that it's corny to me. You don't know, like Jameer said, you never get the whole story from one person. It doesn't happen that way. So for me, I'm like, come with receipts. Show me exactly what it is the problem is you're having. Oh, you only showed me like that set of like phone calls between the two of you. I don't want to see that. I want to see your what you were saying too. I want to see like what it was that you wanted to communicate to
Yeah.
them and whether or not you were communicating accurately and honestly as well. Because you could have fucked up when you were telling them that I don't know they left the pickle jar open all night. Maybe you went to bed before they like you never know like what
Yeah.
is actually going on until you start checking them and making sure that they're being consistent in their own thoughts too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. Um, let's move on to the last one. I did have one about environment, but I just don't want to get into the environment episode today, man.
Nah,
Don't
let's
let
run
the
it. Run
environment
it.
stress you out.
I
Let's
mean,
talk
I
I
about
would
have
say
a
I
little
got
bit
about
more
10 more
time than I
minutes
thought that I
free.
did. I had a little more time than I thought I did.
all right,
I
bet.
do
Let's do
not.
the financial stress one.
You say you
So all right.
guys?
Someone's facing
I said,
financial
okay.
stress due to student loans, job instability, or high cost of living. Damn, we all are, which affects their mental health and future planning. Me. Question. Financial stress is a significant concern for many millennials today. What practical tips and mindset shifts would you suggest for someone navigating financial uncertainty to maintain their peace of mind? Let me go a little bit first on this one. For me, my mindset shift was this. I kept I kept being in I need to save mode instead of I need to make more money mode. And it create like just having an uncertainty of knowing like what expenses would happen and just being on a defense all the time stresses me out. But if I'm more courageous, if I'm more brave with my finances, if I'm investing, if I'm flipping money, if I just like applicate my skills more, I found better success. That's why I started doing festivals. That's why I'm in school at this moment. That's why every time my job picks up a position for promotion or higher rate, I go for it. And what I do mentally, I always work with the budget I started the job with. For instance, the job I started, I was at $15 an hour. I'm currently at 20. about 26 an hour plus shift differentials, right? So in my mind, I'm budgeting like I only make $15 an hour.
Well, that's good. That's smart.
That's smart.
Um,
I
I'll
like that,
say
definitely.
my biggest thing that the older I've gotten that I've learned really is and not to say do anything illegal or anything, but multiple
Don't do it.
streams of income. Multiple streams of income is really important, and more so developing a skill that you can do that can be paid for. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I have graphic design, photography. Like I've done all these things for like 10 years, so it's like I haven't been able to fully consistently stick with it, you know what I'm saying, because of other shit and the different things that I do and regular jobs. But it's still another stream of income that I can get, here and there. I got my books that still sell. So I get like random Amazon checks. It's like it's having multiple streams and in a way that there's money being made for you that you don't have to, what I'm saying? It's just being made to the side without you really having to work for it for real. You know what I'm saying? Like
Passive
graphic design,
income.
photography, and the books. Yeah, passive. There we go. I couldn't think of the word. Passive income. Why is my brain blunt? Anyway.
Is my brain blunt?
No, because I was about to ask.
Yeah. No, so I'm in the exact opposite position of Jamar, where you said you're in the position where you need to stop worrying about making more money and saving more. I found like even after like minimizing my budget, working 32 hours at the wage that I'm making with my main job by itself, it's not enough to cover all of my bills by itself. I made sure to get like medical care. I made sure to get like there's a pre-tax thing you can do where some of your paycheck will go toward like your commute expenses, and instead of spending actual cash that's taxed on like transit, you would get that money taken out of your check in advance and put into a separate account.
Oh, wow.
But even doing all that, it wasn't enough to cover all the bills and then also provide me with a cushion to save. So my position was very literally, you have to make more money, get a second job, and you'll be fine. And I was dreading doing that because I hate working like one job, generally speaking, just because I like having the choice of what to do with my time. But I also had to get to the point where it's like, okay, I want to keep the apartment, I want to keep the lights on, I want to keep fucking streaming, playing games, all that. So I have to bite the bullet and work another job. So generally, when it comes to like looking at finances for people, not that I look at anybody else's, but you have to be, like you said, be courageous, be brave, and be willing to like do what you have to do in order to get out of the position you're in. And then also stay optimistic enough to recognize like poverty is it's difficult to escape, but it's not forever unless you allow it to be. My biggest piece of financial advice, there are so many platforms you can use to get a free consultation with somebody. Do it. Like there's no reason not to. I actually have one coming up like next week on like Monday or Tuesday where I'm going to be doing a consultation to figure out exactly how I can benefit most from having two jobs, figure out how to get out of debt as quickly as possible and how to start saving for a car again. I know after I get a car again, I'm going to cut like 3 hours off of my commute every day. Because I'm only going to have to drive to one job, which is going to be 10 to 15 minutes, depending on traffic. And then driving to my second job from there, that's another 20, versus like spending 4 hours both ways taking like buses and stuff. That's going to open up weekends for me. That's going to allow me to go out to shows again. So find like a finance coach, find a free consultation, and at the very least, get yourself on a budget. A budget does not mean you're not spending money. It means you're planning what to do with your money. And that lets you use it properly instead of just like, well, I have this much money, which means I can spend this much. Then the first rolls around and you're like, she. I wasn't expecting that. Like you have to know what you're going into. And having someone who knows a little better than you is not something to be ashamed of.
Yeah, they know some techniques, man.
Yeah,
They know
I
some
do agree with
techniques.
that. Yeah, I agree with that. And like when it comes to financial stress, um, it's so for me, it's more so about understanding like where the financial stress is coming from and cutting unnecessary spending out. So sometimes some things that you feel like you want can be unnecessary. Like for me, I love to go get like a monthly massage. But then when I it couldn't fit in my budget no more, so it was something where I had to let go. Whereas what I did do was I went back to the spa to work there for them part-time so that I can get a discount on the massage because it was something that I felt like was necessary for me for my mental health, but
Hell yeah.
it was an unnecessary expense. It came after my rent, it came after transportation to work, it came after food and different things like that. So I came up with a solution to like, okay, well, I still want to have this, but let me figure out how I can do this. So, having a good relationship with that job, I was able to go back and now I can get my discounted massages. For me also, when you work two jobs, it's about learning how to treat the other job like the paycheck you get from one job. Just try to put that away and save it. Of course, you may
Yeah.
fall short. You may have to spend some money from it every now and then, but just try to treat that job as if like that's just strictly for saving. Because sometimes a lot of us would get like a lot of money and see that okay, well, I got more, I can do this, I can do XYZ, and then you're wondering why you're not saving in the first place. So I try to treat my part-time job as saving money and my main job as the job where I got to take care of my responsibilities, take care of my myself, my bills, food, whatever. So I feel like when it comes to financial stress, that's something that a lot of us is going to go through in today's time because of inflation, because of the how high everything is nowadays.
What
Like you
is this
literally
face? I'm
are
so
going to be
sorry.
financially stressed unless you are someone who has multiple streams of income. So I feel like learning how to have a healthy coping mechanism with it, because one of my things I used to do, and there's no judgment, I used to like, oh, I got to smoke weed, but smoking weed was another expense. So I'm like, okay, well,
Yup.
I'm complaining about not having money, but now I'm spending more money to have an
You just
unhealthy
reminded
coping
me.
mechanism. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, because I was a chimney, I was a heavy weed smoker. I literally at the beginning of this year stopped smoking, and I realized how much money I saved because I made weed a priority. I made me buying weed a priority over other things. Sometimes I would buy weed, and I knew damn well that I was short of my rent. So I had to make
I
sure that I
do.
was responsibly budgeting certain things, and I had to cut out some things that may be deemed unnecessary. So for me, it was making sure that I handled my was it my responsibilities before the things I had to handle my wants before my needs, or is it the other way around? My needs before
Yeah,
my
it's the
My
other way
wants.
needs for
around.
your wants.
We got what
I
you
can
My
brought.
tell you the
needs,
last time I
but
bought weed.
so
Guys, don't buy stuff on Amazon
personally,
that you don't need. Make it hard to get to any of these apps that you buy stuff on.
what you just buy, nigga? Because I saw that face you made when you was opening it up. I'm like, dog, what is the fuck is that face?
I just bought these lights, man.
You just don't need them.
Or just
They
add a
probably some
delete my
bullshit.
app, dude. Watch this.
So I had to plug my
No,
laptop in.
those. Okay, yeah. You good? You good? All right, no, but for real, okay, I gotta hop on out. So I got another show to record and shit right quick.
Okay,
Alright.
double dipping.
Oh wait,
Yeah, I
what,
mean,
what was there an open question?
The question was that was it. That was the last question.
yeah.
Be honest about financial stress. Any other questions for we in this? Any other statements?
No, not really.
Deal with your bullshit. Get multiple streams of income. Find some talent.
Nope. My main
Get
thing.
balanced. We done. That's it.
All right.
My main thing is, like I said before, just make sure you have a healthy coping mechanism when you're going through stressful situations. When you're trying to figure out how to cope, or you're stressed out, just find a healthy coping mechanism to deal with it. Because we don't live in a perfect world. We're going to be stressed. We're going to go through things. So just find out a way to handle it in a healthy way. That way
It's
that you're
healthy.
not,
Yeah.
doing something unhealthy to deal with it, or you're not killing yourself to deal with it. So healthy coping mechanism is the one thing I would say.
All right. Kendall.
I agree with a lot of that. It's like when people say knowing is half the battle. That applies to everything. Know your friends, know your colleagues. If you don't know your future and it seems uncertain, look at somebody who is doing the things that you want to do and like model. Not like you don't have to live their life. You don't have to compare yourself to them, but see what you can take from them that will benefit you and where they've made pitfalls so you don't have to make the same mistakes just to learn the same lesson that they could teach you. Um, a lot of it really runs along that same lines. If you want to live a life peacefully, if you want to live a life where you're comfortable, you're not always stressing. And not to say I'm somebody who's out of that. I live in that. That is like currently the life I'm living. But I also have the benefit of knowing that it's not going to last forever. It's not going to last much longer, actually. A lot of my situations are going to change in a very, very short time frame, whether that's 4 to 6 months,
There are
which
also
used to feel
standard
like hell
20s
to me.
things.
I'm going to fight you about this.
No, I'm sorry.
But
Just,
between 4 to 6 months, yeah, it is standard 20 shit. 4 to 6 months is a lot of time to completely change stuff. 4 to 6 months from now, I'm probably going to be in a much better position to have a car when I was thinking, damn, I'm never going to have one again. So always stay in the mind frame of like things are going to improve, but not unless I do something about it. And again, that's relationships, colleagues, your work ethic for that matter, the things that you do for your hobbies, the things you enjoy and love. You don't get good at anything until you practice it and you refuse to give up on it.
exactly like this book on Amazon now.
Yo, I will
Real
cut
quick,
your head off.
I was just say too, pour into people who pour into you, because we did also mention motherfuckers taking too much. No, fuck all that. If you can tell when somebody ain't pouring into you, pour into people who pour into you. That way you keep yourself in some sense filled. You know. But yeah, that's it for real. Cicada Diaries on Amazon now.
Not
All
it being
right.
hidden by the background.
Jabir, you went already,
Cicada
right?
Diary. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching it. Be my financially good. Don't buy a bunch of stuff from Amazon. Keep your circle tight. Just remember, life ain't perfect. Be careful what you watch on social media, and don't compare yourself to anyone else because you're special. With that being said, have a good day.
Peace.